Hey guys, Sarah here. I am super excited to finally be doing the joint venture episode with you guys. So great to finally be back on the YouTube channel. Just want to open up to you guys a little bit about what's been going on in my life. I know I've been taking a bit of a hiatus from social media lately. You might have noticed. Yeah, you know what? Sometimes life just gets crazy. I've been really busy with my football summer. Just been planning a lot of different things with my brand as well as my new brand with Sarah Larby. We want to get launched by the end of October. So it's just been super busy and really just planning the trajectory of my business portfolio for 2019. I have a lot of good plans, a lot of stuff that I want to kind of put into motion. And I really wanted to take my time to hear from you guys and design how I wanted this YouTube channel to look like. So now that I'm back in action, I have heard so many requests from you guys to be doing episodes about joint ventures. So here it is. This is going to be Intro 101 to joint venture partnerships. Don't fear, I'm going to get much more in depth on a lot of these topics. I just want to make this as a 101 for people that don't know a lot about JVs. They might not know how they're structured, why they're beneficial even to your real estate portfolio. And then I'm really going to drill deep and make this an entire JV series. I'm also going to be doing something super exciting. I don't want to spill the beans quite yet, but I am going to be having a small group that I'm going to be coaching personally. So if you guys are really interested in drilling deep, developing your brand, figure out where to find these JVs, and kind of what you need to fill in gaps in your portfolio, and really raise some capital to get you to the next level, I'm going to be taking on 5 people for a group coaching program. So if you guys are interested and learn more about the preliminary goings on of the program, please comment below, and I will shoot you guys off an email with some of the details on that. But I'm hoping that'll be in about a month. So that is that. On to the good stuff. So again, this is called JV 101. For those of you that don't know what a JV is, I know sometimes confusing lingo that we use in the real estate world. Basically what that stands for is joint venture partnership. Really, it's just a fancy word for a partner in real estate. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean there's a long-term business partnership with a person. You don't even necessarily, it's not you're starting a business with them. It is a venture, meaning it's usually one property. If it goes well, doesn't mean you can't do multiple deals with this particular person, but usually it just means it's a person that, maybe has some capital or can hold a mortgage, basically has something you don't have that you need. I exclusively use JV partners for my deals. You guys might not know this about me, but I'll be super real. I'm a terrible mortgage candidate. I have been an entrepreneur since I was pretty much 21 years old. I've never really held a salary position. And even when I got back into the corporate world about 2 years ago, I was an independent contractor. I'm just recently on salary. So I'm a terrible mortgage candidate. I got myself into a lot of debt when I was in my early 20s. I couldn't hold a mortgage. If you put me in front of RBC, TD, they just don't like me. And it doesn't mean I don't have cash, but I was just really stuck at the beginning of getting my portfolio off the ground. However, I didn't want that to stop me. I didn't want that to limit me. So I started going to RAIN and was actually getting coaching from Richard Dolan, who is, for you guys who have ever been to RAIN or have heard of Richard Dolan, I highly recommend you check him out. He is the master in raising capital. And it's not just about raising funds. It is about developing a brand, a mindset, and just becoming the type of person that people trust, that they want to give you money. Because I'll be real, when I first started my portfolio, I didn't even own my own house, my own principal residence. I had nothing to show for myself. I didn't have any deals at that time. All I knew is that I wanted to invest in real estate, and I was gutsy and gung-ho, and I wanted to get crap done. So I just started this program And I started reading a ton of books. I'm going to show you guys one that I love so much because I really, really highly recommend that you read it. This is it. I realize I guess it's backwards. Sorry. It is called Real Estate Joint Ventures, the Canadian Investor's Guide to Raising Money and Getting Deals Done. This is for all you guys that love RAIN, have been to their events in Toronto. This is written by Don R. Campbell and Russell Westcott. Love these guys. I listened to all their podcasts, read all their books. This is a must. It really drills down and goes down to basics of again, it's not just about how JVs are structured. It's not just about how to break down your deals and all the mechanics behind it. It goes into how to brand yourself, how to talk to people, how to bring it up in conversation, how to do your presentations, and all the way down to the legalities of the paperwork. So I learned from, what I consider like the best of the best, and I made it my mission. I was like, okay, if I cannot get a mortgage and I want to start this real estate portfolio ASAP, I need to have something that these investors don't. So this is the thing about joint venture partnerships. So if anyone out there right now has yet to start their portfolio, or you guys are tapped out in terms of how many mortgages you're at your cap, and you need JV capital to get to that next level, you have to get super clear on what it is you are offering. So it could be anything. If you are a contractor, you're great at renovations, you're going to put in the sweat equity into, say, doing flip projects, that's great. Capitalize on it. Maybe you have great contacts with realtors and you're awesome at finding off-market deals. Boom. That's a super amazing skill to have, something that, JV money partners would love to hear. Maybe you're really good at commercial, or multi-residential, you really understand the mechanics behind it. I'll give you guys a great example. I started off in real estate with larger residential. So I, got my feet wet managing tenants, working for a property management company. So when it comes to understanding the landlord-tenant board, the Residential Tenants Act, just dealing with tenants, screening them, kicking them out, you name it, been there, done that. And I also understand the mechanics that go into managing a large building with, big furnaces, lots of overhead, what things cost, dealing with property managers. It's a great skill. And I also am quite good at talking and finding off-market deals and doing a lot of the back-end financial analysis. I found my niche and I stuck with it. So it's very, very important to understand before you get into this, why, really identify why you need JV partners, and making it a win-win conversation and a win-win structure. Nobody is going to give you capital if you are not giving them value. Most money partners, they're investing for a lifestyle. I know that most of my money partners are retired. They're living off of cash flow from other investments, whether it's stocks, whether it's owning rentals. So they want no hassle, really easy in and out type of situations. So I know that I talk to enough money partners. I've been turned down before. Don't get me wrong. You guys are going to get some no's. The best advice I can give you is make sure that you're getting more maybes than flat out no's. If you do a good enough job of presenting yourself to a money partner, it's a lot easier to turn a maybe into a yes than a hard no into a yes. But if you get some hard no's, that's okay. It's just a learning opportunity. And don't be afraid to ask them why. Why aren't you giving me your capital? Why, don't you want to invest with me? It just helps you hone your message. It just helps you really tailor how to approach the next one. So, for example, when I have occasionally gotten a no, a lot of times it was I just didn't have the right product or the right setup for what they were looking for. And it really had nothing to do with me. And that's perfectly fine, because not every single money partner that comes your way is someone you need to work with. It's really, really important to work with people that align with your goals, your business practices, and someone that also values you. When you are first getting started on this JV journey and you're new and maybe you don't even have a portfolio yet, what's going to happen is people are going to say, well, why should I give you my money and why do you deserve a cut of this deal? And if you don't have the confidence and the understanding of what you're bringing to the table, it is then very, very easy for someone to take 70% of your deal. So again, number one, establish why you need a JV. Is it because you cannot qualify for a mortgage? Is it because you don't have the capital? You need to know your why and find money partners that fit in with your vision and in making this a win-win. Because if you need someone that has more time and you have capital, you don't want to be like matching with someone else that has like opposing views and trying to sell them something. It's just basically like butting your head against a wall. You need to connect yourself with the type of people so you're solving their issues and they're giving you something that you need. That's this whole idea of a win-win structure. Because guys, we're in business, but at the end of the day, there's a bit of like ethical stuff that goes into all of this, or I like to believe so. I'm a business person, I'm a capitalist at heart, but I'm a firm believer that every good deal has to have a win-win structure. Otherwise, we're just tyrants out there raking in all this money, and why else are we doing this? Why do we want to be in a partnership? It can't be all, take from these partners. You have to provide them with something of value. It has to be win-win. And I'll be real with you guys, when I had very little to offer when I was first getting my portfolios done, I was able to encourage investors because I was enthusiastic and I made it clear that I cared about their goals, that I cared about giving them something. If it was because they were like, hey, I'm retired, I want to make sure that you're using my money, I get cash flow checks every month, and I want to just go chill on the beach, I made it clear that like I understand that their money is valuable, that they don't want anything to do with these deals, and they want their cash flow checks on a consistent basis. I make sure that like I'm gonna make their dreams come true. That's how I position myself. I am like the fairy godmother of providing happiness and the solution to their. Very clear about why you're doing this, about what it is that you bring to the table. You need to decide what your basic JV structure is going to look like. So for those of you that don't know, on your typical JV deal, I try to shoot for a 50-50. And I know that can seem like a little intimidating because you're thinking, oh my gosh, like I've never done a deal. They're giving me hundreds of thousands of dollars and holding a mortgage. How on earth can I negotiate 50% of this deal? And this is where, again, you guys need to follow these steps. And at the end of the video, I'm going to actually like send you a list of the steps that you should be following before you're pitching your ideas to JV partners. Because if they start throwing objections at you and they're like, well, you don't have experience and you don't have this and you don't have that, why should I give you 50%? If you're not confident, what's going to happen is you are just going to keep backsliding and giving away the farm, so to speak. And we are real estate investors. We are not giving away that farm. You need to be comfortable and confident in what you are offering. And if you're not comfortable in what you're offering, you need to go back to the drawing board and understand why. Is it because you're just nervous? Is it because you don't believe in what you do? Because at the end of the day, it's super important that you do believe in what you're doing, that you believe that real estate is the way forward, which is your number one thing, right? Why do we need JVs? It's to make sure that we can achieve our why through real estate. And if you're not clear on your why, this isn't going to matter to you because you're never going to be able to convince someone. They're going to see right through you. If you're really committed to your why and you really believe that real estate is the way that you're going to achieve it, people can see that passion. They can see that, you believe that real estate is the way forward and that you've done your homework. It's not all about just passion and emotion. Let's be honest. There's a foundation there as well. And again, I highly encourage you guys that before you dive in and decide, what it is you want to offer people, even if you don't have experience, make sure you have some basic knowledge. Before I went and started getting JVs, I was in real estate for about 1.5 years. That's 1.5 years of seminars, networking events, books, hours and hours, and hundreds of dollars spent in training boot camps and, podcasts, ebooks, like you name it. I was offering something. I might not have owned a property yet, but if you ask me market data in like specific regions and like about different types of investing and what the returns look like, how JV structures work, I had the answer like clockwork. I am an objection ninja. So when people are like, ooh, 50%, I have a response for that. It's just about being confident and knowing that this stuff works. You gotta believe it. People can see through it. So when we talk now about basic JV structures, right? This whole 50%. Well, how does a 50% look? It's not a straight answer. And the thing is I am saying, be tough, like own your 50%. Know that like what you bring to the table is valuable and important, but also know when flexibility works in your favor. All deals are different. Like every JV is so different depending on your needs. And you have to adjust and design each JV on like a case-by-case basis. That doesn't mean that you should have standard forms, standard practices that you use is very important. You need to screen your JV partners as if they are business partners, or you're like interviewing them. Remember, it's not just about them giving you money. You need to be interviewing them. Are they good people to do business with? Can you trust them? Are they getting their money from ethical sources in situations maybe you don't want to be caught up in? You need to like know these people that you're going into business with. So, but that being said, it doesn't mean that you can't be negotiable or flexible. If somebody's only holding a mortgage for you and not putting any capital down, are you going to give them 50%? They might argue, but if you actually do a list of everything that you bring to the table versus your JV, this is a lovely exercise that I actually prime my JV partners before we kind of sit down and talk hard numbers. If I'm in the preliminary stages of interviewing my JV partner, I've just met them, we're kind of getting to know each other, and they ask me, okay, well, Sarah, how does this work? I include this as part of my package. I kind of like sneak this sheet in. And if you guys are interested, drop me a comment at my email below and I can send it to you guys. It is basically a breakdown of what is expected in tasks from the JV money lender, which is my JV partner, and my list. Because the important part is that their list tends to be like 5 tasks. Mine tends to be like 50. And I sneak it in because it kind of like handles that objection before I ever need to talk to them about it. So it's going to say, qualify for a mortgage, talk to your lawyer, apply with the lender, get financing by X closing date. Whereas mine is like, vet the property, do the analysis, property inspections, like talk to the lawyer, do this analysis, like get this like ESA done, or like an appraisal or a survey done, and and like screen tenants. And I mean, God, like the list goes on and on and on, because keep in mind, most of these investors are completely passive. So our tasks go like well beyond the closing of the property. It's like managing tenants, scheduling maintenance on a monthly, weekly, annual basis, planning like major renovations for the future, and like refinancing, and, managing this and snow removal. And I mean, it's massive. Now I'm talking specifically about like a buy and hold, like apartment or something. It could be slightly different, obviously, if you're doing a flip or say a buy or a rent to own. But that being said, there's so many moving parts with like a rent to own, right? It's like you have to stay on top of that tenant for the next 3 to 4 years. You're checking in with like their rent payments and if they're staying on track with their financing. And if it's a flip, I mean, God, like, just staying on top of the contractor's review. Are the contractor managing the day-to-day operations? It's huge. And I'm highly recommending that you guys do that. And it's a great objection handler if they're asking you, well, why don't I get this percent? It's like, well, on paper, it's very obvious that like our tasks, we earn our 50%. So it could be very different. Like if I wanted to do a flip, for example, and I know another investor who also happens to be a contractor, he and I can work out a deal. I put down half the capital, he puts down half the capital plus labor, we split profits 50-50, I hold a private mortgage, life's great. It could be like I do a 70-30 deal with someone because I put down the down payment and a bit of private financing, they hold a mortgage long term, and so, and maybe they get 50% of cash flow, maybe they get no cash flow. These are all like bargaining tools. And you can see like if I really drill down into this, there's a million scenarios of how you can do this. So it's super, super important that you understand what it is you need first, figure out where the JV fits into that, and you really like understand and like make sure that like the JV partners that you're picking really like align with your goals. You can say no, and in maybe like a later video, I'll go into my whole process, what I do. So if, from like the time I meet an investor to the time we sign the paperwork for a deal, I can go through the process of like what that looks like, how I close them, how the paperwork I make them sign. I hear a lot of complaints from people that's like, how do you find people to commit? They say, oh sure, like I'll give you $200,000, but then the time comes to like sign that piece of paper and you're calling them up, hey, I got the deal under contract, let's do this. And then all of a sudden they're backing out. That's never a fun feeling, especially if you found a great deal and you just can't find a way to close on it, right? That's super frustrating. So I will do another video on all of that, but just know that you need to do your due diligence about what you need, the type of JVs that you need, and then interview them and make sure that like, you don't want to screw these guys over either, just because you want their money. If you know that like what you're offering in your product isn't going to be a good fit for them, it's not really fair either. And then it doesn't really fit with that like win-win philosophy that we're after. And honestly, guys, I'm telling you that if you're just patient in the long run, that's really going to pay off. If you really focus on a win-win mentality, you're going to really align yourself with the right people that want to continue to do business with you long term. So I think one of the biggest things is where to find joint venture partners. I get that question so much, and it's not really a super straightforward answer, but I'll try to get through it as best I can. All right, so in terms of finding joint venture partners, so we call this whole like concept the circle of influence. So if you look at this like a giant bullseye, so you see there's like your inner circle, there's kind of like your tier 2, and then your tier 3. So the concept is that you probably know people around you with a lot more money than you think. Now, I will be perfectly honest, and this is a big challenge that I don't necessarily have the answer to, but it might work for some people, it might not. So that's why I want to put a big like exception on this topic, because what works for one person is not necessarily going to work for everyone. So everyone kind of like, the concept is that you start with your circle of influence first, because you have a connection with these people. You're going to be doing business with someone that you trust. They kind of see what you're doing. They might believe in you and kind of like give you that shot. I actually haven't found my inner tier 1 circle to be super successful. I have a lot of people in my life that just like don't believe in real estate. They're kind of like, meh, let's see like what she does, like let's see what happens. Now that I have a lot more success, I have like all my friends and family and like closer colleagues that are like, hey, like let's invest together. But when I was first getting started, it was definitely not like that. So, you might have friends and family that are super on board with what you're doing. And then you just might not, and you might actually be better going to your tier 2s and your tier 3s. You're just gonna kind of have to like test out the waters and see what works best for you. But I would highly recommend that this is like what you should do. Okay, guys, so check this out. Steps to doing this. I am also a huge believer in social media. Maybe it's not quite your thing. And again, like I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, guys. I am not the end all be all to raising capital, but you asked me about how I do things, how I've had my success. That is what I'm going to go on, but it is by no means the only way to raise capital. Okay. So I want to make that like super clear. So I've actually had a pretty successful following on social media, and that has helped me a lot. I'm a marketer by nature. It is what I studied in school. So I leverage that to my benefit. Because my, tier 1 circle of influence was not like super helpful, I was like, all right, well, I have to convince strangers to give me a lot of money. In order to do that, I have to portray my expertise. I have to put myself out there. So I started this website, this YouTube channel, putting myself on Instagram, chronicling my flip and all this other stuff that's going on in my life with the hopes that, yes, I'm educating the masses like you guys, because I definitely want to help and pass on my knowledge. But also if there's people out there that they're like, hey, she's great, she's super knowledgeable, she's educated, I want to invest with her, here's how I find her. And then, then I can get the ball rolling. I've done this a bunch of times. I can go over my whole platform, my package, what I offer, and what kind of deals we can come up with from there. And I've had some good success doing that. I've also found JV partners at church. I have found JV partners at open houses, which is super random. I went to an open house, and this is like part of the thing about like just getting out there and networking. I haven't talked about it yet, but I'm going to. You guys, you can't raise capital if you're not putting yourselves in the situations to meet people that want to invest. Networking events are a perfect example of that, because you are around like-minded people that are clearly there, like learning, they want to invest in real estate, they are keen on it, and not everyone is an experienced investor. Some of these guys have never invested, and they might go to every single one of these networking events and never invest because they just can't bite the bullet. It's a perfect opportunity for you to step in and say, hey, listen, you're here, I see you at every event, I can clearly tell like you want to get into this, let's do a JV together, like let's pool resources, test out the waters together and see where we can go. Again, this is all about like raising each other up, helping each other in these like win-win situations. So networking events are super important. You can meet realtors who will give you leads. You can meet just like amazing people who are going to help you in this journey. So I've met great JV partners at these networking events. And like this other time, I went to an open house where it was actually a guy, he was like a for sale by owner. He was an investor, and I didn't end up buying his house, but he and I chit-chatted. He asked me a bit about what I do. I explained it. He was like, yeah, like I'm getting out of, owning properties now, like I'm liquidating my portfolio. It kind of sounds really great. Like I would love to do something like that where I'm just a passive investor now with now a working partner, because he used to be a working partner. And so now we've done a flip together. We're probably going to do multiple projects together now. So you just never know like where your money is coming from. But if you're not like going out to these open houses, like I liked the house, but it wasn't great. But you know what? I was like, I haven't seen houses for a while. I should kind of go see what's out there. Let's just drive by this like private open house. And that's where I met one of my best money partners. So it's just kind of like a little kick for you guys that if you're kind of like nervous about networking, or you're just not getting out there and you feel stuck, take a step. Go join a networking group. Go visit some open houses, go to some seminars, like do something where you're like getting yourself out there, because you just never know like the people you're going to meet and the type of motivation you're going to get to kind of help you take that next step. So again, in terms of finding JV partners, that is not a straightforward question. I find them everywhere. So again, I think it's just about putting yourself in the right situations to get those opportunities. If you're just sitting at home all the time and you're like, why aren't I finding JV partners? It's because you're not putting yourself in the situations to like meet JV partners. You gotta get out to networking events. You gotta go to seminars. You gotta go to some open houses, guys. Like just get out there. And again, for the people that are maybe like not super comfortable being, you know, out there at networking events, I get it. It's not everyone's cup of tea. So that's where this comes in. If you can convince yourself to be confident enough to at least like be on camera, put yourself out there, get a cheap website done on like WordPress, start a blog, start promoting yourself. That's really a great way to, you know, that number one inner circle of your friends and family, because there's a whole process that I started, which is like email blasts, videos, video newsletters, weekly, monthly, whatever you think you can fit into your schedule, to like your friends, family, and colleagues. Super cash, right? It's like, hey guys, like I got a new flip project, or like I'm kind of doing this in real estate right now. Like, you know, I haven't talked to you for a while, but like come check out what I'm doing. I have this new website, this new blog, this new YouTube channel. Like check it out, guys. Come support me. Your friends and family are for sure gonna follow you. They might not understand what you do. They might not want to like write you a check today, but they're like probably kind of curious and, you know, watching to see like what you're gonna do. And it's great because after you do start to achieve some success, those are the people that usually come out of the woodwork. So they like, keep in mind, like they love you, like they're like invested. Like if these are your friends, family, like people that have a relationship, like they want to see you succeed. They're like excited kind of, you know? So like those are the types of people that like for sure, like down the road will maybe write you some checks. It just might not happen today, but we can't always have like the instant gratification mindset, especially when it comes to money partners. Real estate is not a short game. Even if you're doing flips, it's like an income generator. Well, what happens when you stop doing flips? Where are you getting your income from? You either have to keep doing it long term or do some buy and hold. Let's find a longer term strategy. Point is, like, this is not something that just happens overnight and then all of a sudden you're like, woo, I'm set for life. It doesn't work that way. And it's the same with your GV partners. Nurturing these relationships takes time. You have to develop trust. You have to develop a brand. You have to develop the mindset that some of these people will come with the woodworks like 5 or 6 years from now, but it could just be at the perfect time when you need a little extra capital to fund a project you're doing. And you know, you're planting the seeds. So just never ever write off JVs that aren't ready to invest right now, because you never know when they're going to. But if you foster that relationship, you never ever want to burn bridges. Build them, do not burn them. Because I've had people that like just didn't connect for whatever reason, you know, like my deals just weren't what they were looking for at the time. But you know what? Once upon a time, I come across this deal, I blast out an email to all my prospectives, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, you know what? This sounds great, I'm down, and boom, somebody that like I thought was a write-off 2 years ago is all of a sudden willing to write me a check for like $300,000. So again, guys, where they come from, I cannot guarantee you, I cannot promise you that. But what I can promise is that if you were consistent, if you're fostering, planting these little seeds and you're patient, they will come. But, you know, project that confidence. Put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to go network, to put some of yourself on YouTube or Facebook or, you know, Instagram. Start to get people like seeing what you're doing, because you just don't know that like once you put yourself out there, what kind of benefits you will reap from maintaining these types of relationships. And I will leave you guys with a few last tips. I don't want this video to get too long because, like, again, I can drill so deep into all of these concepts that I talked about today. So if there was a topic specifically that I just briefed on today that you want me to get much deeper into, I know I can definitely do an entire couple of videos on how to brand yourself, creating your website, the types of newsletter, or like email blasts that I sent out, and like my investor presentation and all the paperwork that I do in my process. I can definitely do videos like that. So please, again, comment below, guys, and let me know exactly, you know, what kind of topics you want me to get a bit deeper into. But I'm gonna leave you with some 3 top tips for how to talk to investors, and really how to establish yourself. So number 1 is like when you are pitching, I call it pitching, but I wouldn't recommend to pitch yourself as a product, and that's step number part two, but let me back up. So number one, be very clear. We're looping back to the beginning of the video. Be clear about who you are and what you offer. Because keep in mind, guys, people are not buying just your deals. They are buying a vision. They are investing in you. When you think about it that way, it really is like a game changer, because that means you could bring them the best deal they have ever seen and they will still not invest with you because there's just something off, right? Like there's something they don't trust about you. Because real estate is very personal and people want to know that the people that they're working with, that they're writing these huge checks or like putting their, life on the line on signing up for a mortgage for you, that you are trustworthy and that you know what you're talking about. So you have to get super, super clear. Who are you? Like, who are you projecting to the world? And what is it you're bringing to the table? Even if you don't have something, really concrete, at least like bring a good work ethic, bring a good confidence, like bring a good sense of integrity to the table, because just that kind of stuff and some good knowledge goes a really long way, because that's what got me through in the beginning. It was my ability to learn quickly, to just know what I was talking about, but also it was just like my passion, my enthusiasm, and my integrity to creating that win-win dynamic that really sold me to a lot of joint venture partners. Number two is never sell yourself. Of all the joint venture partners I have ever closed, it was in a casual conversation. People are like, they want to tell you, pitch your deal, analyze the numbers, find a good deal, and then people will come. I kind of have a reverse idea about that. Yes, it's important to know a good deal when you see one and to have some deals on the go to kind of maybe entice some JV partners. But that being said, the more you try to pitch and push something, the less authentic it feels. And nobody wants to be pitched anything. You watch ads on TV or why it's so uncomfortable to go buy a used car, because you feel like you're getting pitched and sold something you don't really need or want. Even if it's a good deal, it's all in how it's packaged and how it's presented. So I would just highly recommend that if you're at a networking event and you're trying to connect with JV partners, just be yourself and be authentic. Demonstrate who you are. Lead with your integrity, lead with your passion, lead with your personality, not necessarily a deal. Because if someone comes up to me and they're like, hey, I have this great, duplex in Hamilton and I want to reno it and do X, Y, and Z and blah, 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 buy my deal. I'll look at them and say I don't know who you are. Why should I trust you? It's kind of off-putting. It's you're kind of pushing it down my throat. Nobody wants that. When I'm having chats with people at networking events, I'm kind of I let my personality lead. I have casual conversations with people. I ask them, who are they? What do they do? Where do you live? What are your kids' names? What do you do for fun? That's great. Oh my gosh, you're looking for, something to fund your retirement plan. Well, that's great. Do you have any properties? You have a principal property that you want to refinance that's mortgage free and you have $300,000 to invest. That's fantastic. Have you thought about where you're going to invest? Have you thought about, rent to owns? Have you thought about flips? Have you thought about, commercial, mixed use, residential, yada, yada, and it's a way of leading, letting them tell me what they need, because then it's so easy for me to figure out how to find a way to make it work. If there is nothing I can offer them, then it's just a good friendship to have. But, I always ask them questions. I want to figure out what makes them tick. What's their why in real estate? And it really fosters this amazing dynamic and friendship. I'm less of a threat. I'm not a used car salesman trying to jam something down your throat. Then I'm a cool, educated, knowledgeable person who generally wants to help you achieve your goals and your dreams. Because at the end of the day, that's what I'm selling. I'm selling me as a person who cares, who has integrity, who has knowledge, who has things that you don't, and we can help each other achieve those dreams. And I often lead by talking about my dreams even. I'm vulnerable and saying, I'm like a young couple, me and my partner are really excited to buy our first house soon, and we want to have kids in a few years, and we're funding our life and all this kind of stuff. And, it's cool. It like resonates. It's like you share your life and your dreams. I kind of share a bit about me and my life and my dreams. And here, I'm kind of educated. I have a few properties here, and I do a bit of this and a bit of that. And then, oh, well, that sounds interesting. Tell me more. Great. Here, what? Why don't I take you out for coffee? We chat about it some more. Honestly, it's literally that easy, guys. And I know sometimes it can be a bit intimidating talking to strangers, and I make it sound super simple. It takes practice, it takes time. It took me a couple of years before I felt confident enough to do that. But I just really wanted to highlight the difference between selling a product and just like developing like genuine relationships with people. That's what sticks. That's what people remember. And that's the type of person people want to do business with, especially in real estate. And I find like it has just worked for me tremendously. It might be different for you guys. And again, I'm not writing off other ways of, getting capital, but I just know that works pretty well for me for the most part, especially when I'm at networking events. And then we have tip number 3, which is never take the first investors that come your way. Meaning don't just jump into a relationship with every single investor. And I know I touched on that earlier, but I really I feel so passionately about it that I want to reiterate as part of my 3 steps. So guys, do your due diligence, vet your investors, make sure you're going into business with the right people, and please do not be afraid to say no. You can say no to money. I know it sounds terrible to say, especially if you're really desperate to get your first deal or 2 done. But I have heard nightmare stories from people that have gone into business with a JV partner that flaked out on them, that just didn't share the same vision. Then they had to buy out the properties. It was this huge mess, and they just didn't have the same mindset when it came to exit strategies. It can get messy. Keep in mind, we are talking about multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars in assets here. So, this is not something you want to tread lightly. So it's just important, take your time, get to know your people, take them out for coffee, take them out for dinner, get to know their families. Don't, take too long, you want to close the deal, but, just take your time. Make sure that you are really selling them something that they need, and that they are going to be the type of person that you want to do business with. So that's my kind of top 3 tips. Know your brand and what it is that you have to offer. Please don't sell your product and shove stuff down people's throats. Focus on building good relationships with people and lead with your personality and with your win-win strategies. And thirdly, make sure you do your due diligence and don't just accept money from any random JV that comes your way. And again, if you guys need a bit of help when it comes to, identifying your spheres of influence, what I would highly recommend is sit down, go through your database, go through your phone, go through your Gmail accounts, whatever, upload your entire database. Figure out the people that okay, if you just sent them an email or reach out to them via phone, who would be receptive? Who do you kind of keep in touch with? Who seems like a good person who might have money, and analyze them. Rank them even, group A, B, and C. People that oh, their kids just went to college or university. They probably have a bit of capital to play with. Maybe they're even going to downsize their home and sell it. People who, are already retired, who might have some good RSPs, which we will talk about RSP lending soon, because I know it's also a huge topic. If you're in the States, I apologize. In Canada, obviously you guys, a lot of people don't know this, but you can use registered RSP funds for private mortgages. It's a game changer for us guys. And most people that are retired that have RSPs don't even know that. And they're getting crappy 1.5 or 2% returns, and they could be getting 10 to 15. So it's a huge game changer. Anyway, that's for another day. But yeah. So, you know, just go through this list, create your A, B, and C columns of people, and just start like reaching out to them. Say, hey guys, it's been a while. Just want to let you know what I've been up to, tra la la. You never know. You know, I've even gotten joint ventures from friends of friends or friends of my partner. We go to a barbecue and they're like family friends of friends. So like you kind of, you know, you see them at like social events and stuff. You chit chat, maybe you've never really had a full one-on-one conversation with them. Oh, I invested in real estate. Oh, great. Like I work for the bank and, you know, I've been thinking about buying a student rental. What do you think I should do? And, you know, I've gotten that a lot. And then, you know, that turns into a coffee or like a dinner. And then all of a sudden it's like, cool, you know, like I'd love to invest with you. Where do we start? Sign up on the dotted line kind of thing. Cause, you know, I've already like cross that like trust line. You know, I'm a friend of a friend or a family friend, you know, we kind of have like mutual, you know, friends or family in common. It's an easy leap, especially if your family and friends are willing to vouch for you. So just some tips and tricks to get you started right now. If you want to just kind of like test the field, send a little video like this even to your friends and family, kind of see what people think, you know, test the waters. You never know. Again, you just have to kind of like bite the bullet at some point and just get yourself out there. Even uncomfortably go to networking events and just start like talking to people. You know, if you're a little like shy and like a little nervous about meeting strangers, just go. Like even at a grocery store, put yourself in situations where you just have to start like talking to people, and not even about real estate, just getting used to chit-chatting and talking to people about their lives. And then you can bring up real estate to some random person in the grocery store. It's cool. Go to networking events, chat away about different seminars you've been to. Like just get yourself outside of your comfort zone, get into this headspace of talking about real estate, and about how to like pitch yourself, not necessarily a product. You don't want to sell things to people, right? So anyway, guys, I have like rambled way too long about this topic. I know it was probably like a little all over the place, so I apologize. I just wanted to try to cover as much of like a spectrum of stuff about JVs because I've been waiting so long to do this video for you guys. Obviously, there's going to be an entire web series. I'm thinking about doing like 5 to 6 videos specifically about JVs. If there's stuff in particular, like specific topics you want me to dive into, I will do those first. Otherwise, I'm going to release this over the next few weeks and try to get these videos done for you guys. And again, if you are interested in a group coaching situation where I will coach you through getting your first JVs, getting your next JVs, even for like commercial, like larger projects and things like that, definitely please email me below for more info and we can chat. And lastly, please, if you like what you see, subscribe, follow me on Insta and Facebook so you can see more of this content. I love to help you guys out. This is definitely like a huge passion of mine and I'm really happy to be given this opportunity. So love you guys. Hope you found this super informative, and please like and subscribe if you do, and always feel free to email me with questions or comment below. Until next time, guys, take care.